now installing a Facebook pixel to your website for the very first time, then in the eyes of Facebook, you're brand new. Even if your website and your business is really well established, Facebook has no data on your website visitors yet. So it doesn't know who's reading your stuff, who's purchasing things, and who's signing up to your email list. So while it's not a barrier to success by any means, if you have a brand new ads account and a brand new pixel installed, it makes perfect sense that over time, as you run more ads and you get more organic traffic, Facebook is going to learn a little bit more about what works for your target market and what doesn't, and get better at sending the right kind of people through your ads to your website. So for example, let's say you run an automated or a live webinar, and the people that you'd be looking to target with your ads would be people who are most like the people who have registered for your webinar in the past. So you'd like to get your pixel to really understand that it needs to serve your ads to more people who are similar to people who have signed up for your webinars in the past. So once you do have a little bit of data about people who have registered for your webinar, maybe even through organic methods, it will become a lot easier and cheaper for you to run conversions for webinar registrations, because Facebook is going to have more of an idea of who to look for based on your past registrants that has data on that pixel. So typically you'll want to have at least 20 to 30 conversion events on your pixel before you change your optimizations to conversions for this particular event. And that is specifically true if your conversion event is a purchase. So for example, if you're optimizing for purchases, make sure that you have at least 20 or 30 purchases on your site organically before you then advertise for this objective. What this will do for you is it will actually bring down your cost per event, because Facebook will be better at knowing who to look for. A brand new unseasoned pixel has no data on it. So when you tell it to go and look for people who are likely to purchase your products, it doesn't really know where to go. So it becomes more of a trial and error thing, which could end up increasing your cost per event, and it'll take you a lot longer to get to that conversion event. But with a seasoned pixel, that pixel has previous data on it to look back on to make the best possible choices on your behalf. And that ends up reducing your cost per event. And one cool thing that you can do once you've seasoned your pixel is to take that information and leverage it by creating an audience that looks very similar to the people who have registered for your webinar or bought your product through a lookalike audience, and basically say to Facebook, hey, find people who are similar to the people who have done this thing on my website in the past. But of course, the more data that you can actually provide to Facebook to create your lookalike audience, the better. So the minimum is 100 people, but if you can give Facebook 500 or 1,000 people instead, then the lookalike audience will be much more targeted as well. And let's take a look at how to do that on the back end. Inside of the Audiences tab inside of your Ads Manager, you'll be able to create lookalikes, which some of you guys might already be using, but not a lot of people are using the value-based lookalikes, which again require a little bit of pixel seasoning to work effectively. But a lot of people are sort of going in and using lookalikes based on their email subscribers or video viewers or people who have engaged with their website. And these are all really, really good ideas. You know, I could create a lookalike audience based on my website visitors for the past 2 months or past 6 months. Any custom audience really can have a lookalike created off it, as long as there's enough data to really power that lookalike. But then you can also create value-based lookalikes, which means that once you have enough purchases on your website on an organic level within the last 60 days, so obviously I'm not running ads for this and I'm not sort of promoting this organically, so I don't have the events to back this up. I've only got 2, so it means that my lookalike might be quite limited. But if you do have a good enough base of value-based events happening on your website, like purchases or other types of events that you're tracking through your Facebook pixel, this can be a really, really powerful way for you to then say to Facebook, all right, find people who are really, really similar to people who have purchased from me in the past. So a 1% lookalike is going to be the most similar to people who have performed this action in the past. And that's such a big benefit of pixel seasoning, and can be a really powerful way for you to create these types of audiences who might be really, really likely to perform these actions based on these characteristics of your past customers. Or you might be an established business with a really good deal of data on your pixel, but that data is maybe not relevant to your ad targeting, which means you have to start from scratch with a brand new pixel. This is super rare, but here are a few reasons why you might want to ditch your existing pixel for a brand new one. So you might have changed your business focus. For example, my own business started as a travel blog before it had anything to do with marketing. So using website data from the people who were interested in reading about traveling through Vietnam would be pretty useless for the purposes of my ads about marketing. And that happens a lot with personal brands in particular, that they really evolve their niche over time. Or perhaps you've gone viral for the wrong reason. So marketer Rachel Peterson talks about how she went viral for this Facebook post about how the size of her engagement ring isn't a measure of the love between her and her husband. And it's an amazing story, but attention like this can bring hundreds of thousands of people to your website in a matter of days for the wrong reasons. And especially for websites with otherwise quite a small amount of traffic, this can really skew who Facebook then ends up seeing as your ideal customer based on the data that's now on your pixel. And finally, and this is incredibly rare, but really good for you to just keep an eye on, because using something like the Pixel Helper Chrome extension or just checking the source code of any website, you can pretty easily see someone's Facebook pixel ID. And if this gets placed somewhere it's not supposed to be, this can really skew your results. And this can happen in really highly competitive environments or industries. Inside of Ads Manager, if you head on over to your Events Manager, and you'll be able to see your pixel data there, where it says websites, just periodically make sure that you're going in here and checking in on this and making sure that these are websites you recognize and ones that you're okay with this pixel being placed on. This is super rare, but yes, again, people can pick up your pixel ID and technically place it anywhere. And while it is really rare for this to happen, it's a good idea to periodically come in here and check in on this, especially if you see a massive spike in the events that have been tracked recently. If you're not running ads, something could have gone on there or happened there where maybe the pixel is being picked up by an incorrect website, and then you'll be able to get the domain name here and maybe contact the website owner and ask them to take it down. So that's a little bit about your pixel, but just so you know that as with anything in the marketing world, the more data you have on your audience and who's engaging with you, who's signing up to your email list, and who's buying from you, the better your future campaigns will perform. And that's also why those Connect campaigns are so critical to your success with Facebook and Instagram ads. And in the next lesson, we're going to be taking a look at something else that can really contribute to the success of your campaigns, which will be all about keeping your ad content fresh to prevent ad fatigue.